Hey, what's up guys? Sean Surgener here, and in today's video we're going to talk about my 5 top strategies for saving a lot of money on a very low income. It's the same thing that I did to save about $9,000 off of $19,000 income my first year moving to Los Angeles. So, if you are ready, let's go. So, number 1, you have to change your mindset. You see, the mindset that I had when I first moved to Los Angeles was this: if you can just get the bills paid, you know, that's really all you need. And that was the mindset that I subscribed to for the first few months. And because of that, I literally was like, at the end of each month, like, holy crap, if I don't find a job immediately, I am so screwed. Because I didn't have hardly anything in my savings. I mean, I literally had $400 in my pocket when I moved to LA and I had no job. But that mindset of I don't make enough money to save was actually one of the things that was really holding me back from actually saving money. Because you're now saying that like you're helpless and there's nothing that you can do about it, and that you have to figure out how to make more money, and you hope for this job promotion or maybe another job comes along, but you do put yourself in this kind of like victim, sort of like helpless mindset. When you switch to saying that regardless of how much I make, I'm going to find a way to save X number of dollars. When I say X number of dollars, it's just whatever's realistic to you. But once you start having that mindset, a few things happens. It puts you in the driver's seat. You know, one, it's a limitless mindset. You know, there's a lot of options now, because now you're saying that it is possible and you just got to find the right strategy. Okay, so step number 2 is your housing budget. Your housing budget is probably one of the biggest expenses that you have in life, especially if you live in a city like I do, like Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco, Miami, all these bigger cities where rent is just like astronomically expensive, and it's like, how in the world can anybody manage to support themselves? Here's the rule of thumb: your rent or your mortgage, which, you know, so if you own the property, should be no more than 25% of your monthly income. Here's what you do: if your rent or your mortgage is more than 25%, or even if it is less than, here's how you begin saving even more money. If you have a spare room, rent out a room. Okay, so that's an option. So if you have a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment and one room is empty and you use it maybe for like an office or something, maybe have someone move in. Have someone move in on the couch. Or if you have a certain area that you can section off, rent it out to somebody. I mean, even if they're paying as low as like $300 or $400 a month, you guys, over the course of a year, that is like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a year extra in money in your pocket that you can use for your financial future. If you don't have a spare room, and let's just say you're in a 1-bedroom or a studio, then get a roommate. You know, share a room with somebody. Share the studio with somebody. Another option is this: if your parents live near you, move in with your parents. I know this is a big one for most people. A lot of people don't have good relationships with their parents, or they don't live in an area that their parents live in. And if that's the case, then, you know, obviously you need to explore other routes. But if you are fortunate enough to have family members that live in your area, or you can actually stay and living with them, then by all means, make sure you do that. Living with your family can save you so much money. I mean, let's say you spend $1,000 a month on rent and you're able to actually move in with your parents. You guys, that's $12,000 a year in your pocket. If you did that for 2 to 3 years, that's $24,000 to $36,000. I mean, that's a down payment on a property that could help you put down on a rental property, that could give you money to begin building a business or a side hustle or a passion that you have. I mean, there's limitless options and opportunities that you can create by having that extra income. It can even go towards your retirement, so that one day you can retire. You know, just a couple years can make such a radical difference in your future. The other thing is maybe downsize. If you have your own 1-bedroom, find a studio nearby that's renting for a couple $100 a month cheaper. I mean, hey, even if it's $200 or $300 a month cheaper, you're talking $3,000 or $4,000 a year that could be going into your pocket instead of making someone else rich. Step number 3 is your food budget. And depending on your habits, it can get really expensive. So what I did was I began going through my monthly budget, and I advise you to do this too, but sit down and look at how much you're spending a month on food. Now, set a new goal for yourself and say, hey, I'm going to make a habit of spending X number of dollars a week. So I gave myself $35 a week, which was about $5 a day, and then I broke it down into meals. So I gave myself $1 for breakfast, 1 to 2 for lunch, and 2 to 3 for dinners. The one thing that I knew is that the more precise, the more exact that you get, the more detailed that you get, the more you break it down, the easier it is to see how you can accomplish it, and the easier it is to follow through with your goals. I began going through and designing meals by cost. So I started looking at all the items that I bought on the regular at the grocery store. And I created an Excel spreadsheet for all those items. So I'd put the item, I'd put how much it cost me, and I'd put how many servings I could get from that. And then what I would do then is I would start mapping out cost per servings of each item, and I would start placing things to make sure they fit in my budget. So for example, I found that a couple eggs and 2 slices of toast actually cost me, I think it was like 93 or 97 cents at the time. For lunch, I would either do like a protein shake with a little side like snack, like some vegetables or something, or I would do a chicken breast with rice and broccoli. And the way I did that for less than $2 was I would find the grocery stores where the fresh chicken breast was on sale that averaged just over $1 chicken breast. So, you know, it's probably, I think it's like $1.25, so between $1, $1.25 depending on the sale. And I would buy a bunch of them, I'd freeze them, and then I'd just cook what I needed. I bought a big thing of rice, and that averaged out to around like a quarter to like 30 cents per serving. And then I would buy a big thing of like broccoli or frozen vegetables, and that was another like 20, 30 cents. So by the time I added up all the different items, it cost me just under $2 for a plate. And I do the same thing for dinner. But having this kind of like exactness and breaking it down to a science really started helping me understand where I was spending a lot of my money and how I could pick certain items and create a really strong financial food budget for myself and save a lot of money. Because here's the thing, it's not that hard to spend $15 or $20 in a day. You know, you go to like Chipotle for lunch and it's like $8 to $9 to get a bowl. And then, you know, you go out for dinner and you spend like $10 or $12 on like a cheap meal for dinner, and all of a sudden you've spent $15, $20. If you go from $20 to $5, that's $15 a day difference in savings. That's a little over $100 a week, $400 a month, literally edging $5,000 a year in savings just from your food. So make sure that you look at your food budget and kind of break it down and figure out like, how can I start saving money on my food budget? Okay, so number 4, educate yourself. I know a lot of people talk about this all the time, but it really is a big thing, and I didn't realize how powerful it was until I started doing it myself. When I first started trying to figure out finances, I didn't have many mentors to teach me in my life, you know, how to become really wealthy. And so what I did was I just started going to the library and checking out stacks of books at a time on finances, on financial minimalism, on personal finance, on investing, real estate, anything that I thought could give me that edge financially. I was also going online on YouTube. I was watching videos of people talking about like tips and tricks that they use to save money. I was listening to speakers talk. I mean, anything I could get my hands on, whether I could listen to it via audiobook, podcast, watching it, reading a book, I was on it. And I was like, man, I'm gonna learn this. And I learned so many great things that helped me learn how to save money and begin using my money to create wealth. Number 5, pay yourself first. Now, when I really started studying the differences between, you know, what really makes some people build wealth, why is that some people seem like they can always save money, then you have other people who just really tend to struggle. Now, I'm talking regardless of income, because I know people who make 6 figures and multiple 6 figures a year who struggle financially, and then at the same time, I'm over here in Los Angeles making $19,000 and managed to save almost $9,000 in my very first year. How is that? There's a way that financially successful people operate that guarantees that they save money, and that is that they pay themselves first. Now, what does that mean and how does that work? Well, what you do is you look at your monthly income, like how much do you actually make typically in a month? And then you say, okay, what is a realistic amount that I can save? You know, it's usually great to start like 10 or 15% at the bare minimum. Ideally, you save 15 to 20% of your income in the beginning. And you're gonna set aside that money every time you get paid. Okay, so just to keep numbers easy, let's say you make $1,000 a week, which is $4,000 a month. 10% of that is $400. So that means that you are going to live off of $3,600 because you're taking the $4,000, you're subtracting the $400. That's $3,600. So now you've got to set your life up on expenses of $3,600 a month. By doing this, it forces you to save money. You're no longer hoping that at the end of the month you have money left over, but you are guaranteeing yourself you are saving money first and then spending the rest. I'm telling you, this one thing completely changed everything for me. I had set a certain amount per month that I wanted to save, and I said, look, I'm paying myself first. I know I don't make very much, but I am just going to do everything else that I can to make sure that I'm living within whatever is left over. And so I did. You know, I was sleeping on a couch for a while. I was eating on $5 a day for food. I was literally not going out sometimes because those are the sacrifices I had to make because I knew I wanted to save money and I had a reason for it. I knew that I wanted to invest in real estate with all the books I was doing. I was reading and I knew I wanted to create wealth. And I said, hey, you know, if I sacrifice short term right now, as I move forward, I know I can create a lot of wealth for myself. And this one really made a huge difference. So I hope that you really enjoyed this video and that it really gave you some insight on how you can begin saving money even though you're on a low income. Like I said, I made only $19,000 my first year moving to LA. I was only working side jobs. It was terrifying, but yet I still managed to save like $8,000 or $9,000 my first year because of these 5 tips and tactics, you know, strategies that I used on myself after learning it by studying people, and it made a huge difference. So I hope these make a big difference for you. Make sure you like this video if it kind of gave you some knowledge. Subscribe to my channel if you want to learn more about finances, fitness, you know, happiness, fulfillment, all these great and wonderful things. And also leave some comments below. I want to hear what you're doing in order to save money. If you are one of those people who are on a low income and you're just like crushing your savings, leave some tips and strategies below for everybody else on how you're saving money. Share your story. Anytime you hear stories like this, it just inspires us. You know, I was so inspired by the books that I read about people who didn't make a lot of money but yet saved a lot, the videos that I watched, and it really, you know, their story inspired me to do the same thing. And so I would just appreciate if you leave a comment below. If you have questions or need help, leave comments below, and we'll catch you on the next one.